I have to begin by saying it is not really siku njema, as many of us remember the life and times of fallen journalist Ken Walibora. We'll be talking about that in a few ahead of this bulletin. But I hope you're having a great time from wherever you are watching us from. My name is Eric Munene. Our sign language interpreter for this bulletin tonight is Joyce Wairimo. We begin. The number of Kenyans infected with coronavirus in the country has ballooned up to 225 after 9 new cases were confirmed, even as the recovery cases jumped to 53 after 12 persons were discharged. This comes even as the government sent out a special health team to Siaya County to intensify efforts in combating the virus, which has far claimed 10 people in the country. Our reporter Jeff Kaimba begins this bulletin tonight.
That coronavirus pandemic is a deadly monster is indeed no doubt. The virus, which has so far claimed 10 lives in the country, has continued to wreak havoc across the world.
We are aware that there are those looking at our figures and celebrating a bit too early. Let me send out a word of caution. We are not out of danger. A comparative review of the countries now being overrun by the virus shows that they were reporting similar figures as we are now. You will note that our 4.6% death rate is within the global range of 6.3%.
The pandemic has rocked more than 19 counties across the country, and on Wednesday the number surged to 225 after 9 new cases were confirmed by the Health Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe.
In the last 24 hours, we have upped our testing capacity, as I mentioned, and tested for the first time over 800 samples, and hopefully we can begin to double even that number. But during that period, out of the 803 samples, 9 people have tested positive. That all the 9 cases are Kenyan nationals. And also, none of them has a history of travel, and none of them was in a quarantine center.
The constant increase of the cases now puts many Kenyans in danger, even as the efforts to combat it intensifies. Some of the counties that the government has now concentrated to curb the virus include Nairobi, Kilifi, Kwale, Mombasa, Mandera and Siaya, with the Siaya joining the list of the hotspot counties after 1 person died of the disease. James Oyugi, who worked at the Kenya Ports Authority, died of the virus even after mingling with the several persons who the government is currently tracing. Oyugi, before meeting his death, traveled to Siaya on April 5th by road, together with one of his 2 wives and 2 children. The family says he slept in Nairobi before driving to Kisumu. He was involved in a road accident at Awasi on Kericho-Kisumu Road. How he managed to leave the city on April 6th, the same day President Uhuru Kenyatta declared a ban on travels into and out of the counties, including Nairobi, is still a mystery. Onyango's brother picked up the family at Awasi and they spent the night in Kisumu, then later on traveled to Kwale on April 7th, but remained indoors according to the police report. On April 10th, James Oyugi started coughing and was rushed to the Matibabu Foundation Hospital, where he was attended by 9 medical staff. The 9 staff at the hospital who attended to the patient, including the clinical officer in charge of the hospital, were taken to the county's KMTC campus for the mandatory 14-day quarantine.
Early today, I dispatched a high-level team from the Ministry of Health to Siaya County on an urgent mission. The team, which is led by Acting Director General of Health, Dr. Patrick Amoth, is currently examining the status of the quarantine and isolation facilities in Siaya County.
More than 2 million people have been infected with the virus globally, with 127,000 people having died of the virus, with more than 400,000 people recovering. Reporting for Ebru TV, I'm Jeff Kaimba.
Let's go to politics now. The Office of the Registrar of Political Parties has now written to Jubilee Party Secretary General Raphael Tuju, demanding to be furnished with the party meeting that resolved to change party office bearers. The statement by the Registrar of Political Parties, Andy Ritu, comes after Party Deputy Secretary General Caleb Kositanye and other Jubilee officials made a visit to her office requesting for documents that necessitated the proposed changes of the party's National Management Committee. Have a look.
The state of the affairs in the ruling Jubilee Party seems to be messy and nasty, with the party officials locking horns over the future of the party. So a member of the parliament, Caleb Kositanye, who is the party's deputy secretary general, together with the host of the Jubilee members, led by Moses Kuria and his Bahati counterpart Kimani Ngunjiri, early in the morning were at the office of the registrar of the political parties to poke holes at the party secretary general Raphael Tuju to propose the changes in the party.
Doing another letter today that will be delivered here for her to furnish me with the details of the documents she used that were filed by Tuju and the chairman, that the documents she used for her to gazette.
The furious members of parliament had rallied behind their 146 counterparts by petitioning against Tuju's draft of the changes in the party by replacing Fatuma Shukri, Pamela Mutua and Veronica Maina in the National Management Committee. Tuju replaced the long-serving members with Lucy Nyawira Macharia, Marite Marangu, Walter Nyambati, Jen Nampaso, and James Waweru, a decision that has not augured well with the Deputy President William Ruto's allies. Registrar of Political Parties Anderito confirmed receiving the names which she gazetted, however, admitting she was not in possession of missing minutes of the meeting which proposed the change of the NMC office bearers.
And she has replied to Raphael Tuju, says, I do not have the documents. I gazetted without the requisite documents. I do not have any minutes. So she is saying, please, sorry, save me. I committed an illegality.
This is a matter that is very serious. It means that Tuju has been sleeping on his job, or the registrar has been working under influence of power peddlers.
Political friction in the Jubilee Party began right after the handshake between President Uhuru Kenyatta and the ODM leader Raila Odinga, with the duo forming an alliance which gave birth to the Building Bridges Initiative BBI. William Ruto's allies have remained firm not to be shaken by the opponents with the term as political detractors.
We are calling on the Secretary General and the chairman. While all this saga is going on, they should step aside from their positions.
Mr. Tuju is in office illegally. All the other people are in office illegally. There is no backup.
Lakini tunauliza follower wetu, wajumbe wetu wote tuwe calm. Hii mambo tutaenda polepole na ukweli utakuja kujulikana. Ukiona mzee kope yako juu ya meza, amewekelewa juu ya meza. Kwa sababu mzee kope hawezi panda juu ya meza. Ukiona hizi barua hizi, kuna yule amewekelea mzee kope kwa meza.
But in a quick rejoinder, Raphael Tuju hit back by dismissing claims by Deputy President William Ruto that there was an attempt to form illegal changes to the party's leadership. Tuju says the new names were picked way before the coronavirus outbreak and were brought in the office after the departure of some of the party officials at different times in the last 1 year. Reporting for Ebru TV, I'm Jeff Haemba.
Well, that report there by our very own Jeff Haemba is the subject of our interview tonight. And now I'm joined by the Kimilili Member of Parliament, that's Didmas Baraza. Unfortunately, we could not get his Nyeri Town counterpart, that is Ngunjiri Wambugu. Mheshimiwa Didmas Baraza, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Well, let me start by asking you, members of parliament who are allied to Deputy President William Ruto have taken the battle for, the Jubilee Party to President Uhuru Kenyatta's doorstep. And you, being among the MPs, are demanding that he denounces comments by the party vice chairperson, that is David Morathe, who allegedly resigned. But then again, it is said that he did not resign, or rather the president did not accept his resignation letter. Don't you think, Mheshimiwa, it is time to accept and move on? Accept that Jubilee Party was a special purpose vehicle and that now it is time to move on and leave the party and probably form another party for the next general elections?
That is not that could bring you, up to speed on 3 facts that you may not be aware of. When Raphael Tuju wrote to the Registrar of Political Parties purporting that the party has endorsed change of names, it's laughable because there has been no any meeting of the Jubilee Party for the last 3 years since Tuju was nominated as Secretary General. Parliamentary group meeting has not been there. We have never had any governing council meeting, nor the National Executive Council meeting. So the purported minutes that were to communicate the change of names, they are non-existent, and if they are available, they are fraudulent, they are just a forgery. Now, the second thing is that Tuju has been lecturing us that we have not been able to use the internal party, machinery or organs to be able to advance our grievances. But Tuju's cabal has frustrated all the attempts of the party organs to meet, including even when you say that David Mrathe he resigned. The person who is supposed to process David Mrathe's resignation is the Secretary General Raphael Tuju. Even when we are told that he never resigned, he's still the vice chair of the party. When did Tuju announce that he's still the vice chair of the party? Did he do it through Twitter or through Facebook or which way? So he himself, he has been frustrating the party organs to meet so that the party can be able to move forward. Now, the third thing is that I want to bring it to the attention that the purported fraudulent minutes, or rather communication to the Registrar of Political Parties, that the Jubilee Party is changing their names, was communicated to the party, to the registrar on 3rd of April, 1 month into the corona pandemic. So Tuju's insinuation that now we have a corona pandemic is just a fallacy. This is a person with the, together with the other characters, they wanted to use the corona pandemic to cover fraud, to bring a coup in the party, which is not acceptable. And like I've said before, that as a party, as members of parliament, we have 3 options. Option number 1 is Jubilee Party. Option number 2 is Jubilee Party. Option number 3 is Jubilee Party. We are not going anywhere. The Jubilee Party belongs to millions of Kenyan people. It belongs to the party. And those are a few characters led by Raphael Tuju and David Mrathe, who have since left this party time ago, because every Kenyan understands that Raphael Tuju is the new ODM political party strategist. So if these are the people who should leave the party, and if I can invoke Article 10 of the Constitution of Kenya in terms of values of governance, Tuju has violated this article, and that's why we want to ask him to leave the party so that he can join ODM. I know he is planning to vie for, he want to be governor of Siaya on an ODM ticket, and we want to tell him that time has come for him and his other characters to pack up and leave the party.
Okay, Mheshimiwa.
The minorities cannot leave the party. The minority cannot leave the party. Let them leave the party so that the party remains into the hands of the Jubilee delegates who want to build this party going forward into the future.
Well, Mheshimiwa, when you say that the Secretary General has been frustrating efforts of members to meet and probably make very important decisions of the party, members of Parliament allied to the Deputy President, some of them are actually in influential positions within the Jubilee Party. Caleb Kositanyi is the Deputy Secretary General. Are you saying none of these members were aware of the alleged frustrations by the Secretary General and probably would have come up with ways of straightening things?
We were aware that Raphael Tuju was frustrating efforts by party organs to meet and strengthen the party. But we were waiting for, the March elections that we anticipated. And if these elections were not held, we were, the corona pandemic came in, and we were waiting for the corona pandemic to end, so that now we can begin advancing the affairs of the party. As you are aware, everybody in this country, we ought to direct all our energies into fighting this pandemic that was unprecedented. So that is very true. We are very fully aware. We've made very many efforts to meet. You've been calling for parliamentary group meetings. We've been calling for, governing council meetings. We've been calling for the National Executive Council meetings at no avail. This has been frustrated by one Raphael Tuju, whom now we are telling him that we are tired, enough is enough, and he should quit this position so that we can put another Kenyan that is serious to take this party forward. You can imagine he purports to change the names which Raphael Tuju forwarded to the registered political parties. They are not even members of the National Executive Committee meetings. We even reliably informed, and we have checked that these people are not even registered members of the Jubilee Party. So how can you front names of strangers, people who are not members of the party, that these are going to be the new, the leaders of the party? This is laughable. This is a fellow who left this party a long time ago. This is an enemy within. And we want to call him to order that he should pack up his things and leave our party, let him join a party of his choice. He can choose between joining ODM or forming his own party.
Well, Mheshimiwa, one fact that might bypass a lot of people and observers in that is that Jubilee Party was not just a merger between URP and TNA, and in fact, at least 5 officials of the defunct parties that merged to form Jubilee today have revealed that President Uhuru Kenyatta had initiated the contentious changes to the supreme organ. And just to go through the names very fast, the leaders include Albert Nyaundi of Ford People, Kalembe Ndile of Tip Tip, Benjamin Mwema of Newford, Kenya, PK Miriti of United Patriotic Party, and Osman Hassan of UDF. You want to tell me that all these people might have gone wrong, and you want to stick to the argument that all this is the doing of the Secretary General?
I want to tell you that the President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, is not dumb. He can speak for himself, and this party doesn't belong to an individual. It doesn't belong to Uhuru Kenyatta. It doesn't belong to William Samoei Ruto. The party belongs to Kenyans, and we have organs that can communicate the important decision of the party. And we must call these other characters to order, the likes of Brother, and I've been on record urging the president to come forward and denounce these people. Because these are people, when they are somewhere in a bar drinking, when they get drunk, they want to quote His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta. When they are smoking, whatever that they smoke, they want to quote Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta has never appointed anybody to speak on his behalf. If he wants to speak, he speaks for himself. So those people who are now saying that Uhuru Kenyatta has initiated, they want to initiate the change of names. He will initiate it through the party organs. He will ask Raphael Tuju, or he will convene a parliamentary group meeting and initiate the changes. Or he will convene the party's governing council meeting and initiate the changes. Uhuru Kenyatta is a person who understands the party's constitution. He understands, the sections to invoke if he wants to change the leadership of the party.
So a lot of you who are allied to the deputy president say that the latest changes are part of a wider scheme to elbow out the deputy president. What other schemes do you think are there? What other options are on the table for the so-called detractors?
I may not, what I just want to tell you is that this party is led by people who have gone to school. This party was formed by people who had a clear agenda. Map of where they wanted to go. And we are very keen. We are not going to accept or allow any fraudulent activities within the Jubilee Party. And we are calling for, immediately after the corona pandemic clampdown is called off, we are going to call for national elections so that we can put this party into the hands of people who want to grow it, not in the hands of the people who want to kill it. Let me just bring you up to speed. These characters, they are strategizing on behalf of opposition party. Specifically, the referendum to be able to cripple the journey of Jubilee from gripping to continue to grip to power even after 2022. So now it seems to have run out of option. Now they wanted now to be able to kill this party, which is not acceptable. We are aware of what they are doing.
Okay.
And we have invested into this party, and I can tell them that in terms of identifying where we are going, where we can see while he is standing, Raila Odinga and his characters, they will never see, even when they climb on top of trees. We know what they want. We are aware of what they are planning, and I can assure you that they will not succeed. The fact that more than 346 members of parliament and Senate members of parliament, and more than 50 Kenyans of goodwill, MCAs and other, members of the party have expressed their dismay, and they dismissed this attempt. It tells you that this party is in the right hands. I take your pardon, you are hanging?
Well, I understand that we are losing that connection with Mheshimiwa there. I don't know if you can still hear me. Mheshimiwa, if you can still hear me, this is about Jubilee Party and it's not really about Raila, but as we wrap up very quickly, I know before the fallout between you, the members of Tanga Tanga, and those of Kieleweke, you obviously were, or rather you had the inside happenings of the Jubilee Party, and I'm sure you still have the inside happenings of the Jubilee Party. So very quickly, is it true that President Uhuru Kenyatta rejected the resignation letter by the vice chairperson, and that is David Murathe?
It's not true. The person who receives the resignation letters is the Secretary General. Then the Secretary General will prepare those documentations to the party leader. But the Secretary General, upon receiving that letter, he slept on it. He frustrated the efforts to process David Murathe's resignation letters. So this clearly indicates that Raphael Tuju, even though he's the Jubilee Party Secretary General, but he's working with the opposition to kill this party and frustrate efforts of Jubilee Party organs to process very important information of the party and take this party forward. That is how it is.
Well, thank you very much, Mheshimiwa, for your time. We really do appreciate. We really wish that our connection to Nyeri Town Member of Parliament, Ngunjiri Wambugu, who represents the Kieleweke side of the Jubilee Party, could have gone through. We get their side of the story as well. But thank you very much, sir. Now, we move on. The Council of Governors now says that they are classified under the critical and essential services providers listed to move from their counties to COVID-19 hotspot counties. The governors say that they will not manage to supervise transportation of goods from Nairobi to their counties if they are still held up in their counties. Have a look.
There shall be cessation of all movement by road, rail, or air in and out of A, the Nairobi metropolitan area,
Few days into the ban on the movement in and out of the 4 COVID-19 hotspot counties, and most Kenyans are finding it hard to adapt to their new reality, that of sticking within their county's borders. But it seems there are some who would consider themselves above the law, perhaps because of their positions.
Our essential service. Wanasema tuna essential service. Tuna essential service kama nyinyi. Wewe ukitoka Kisumu, ukiwa mwanahabari utaingia Nairobi. Ukiwa na hiyo card, hata hawa ni essential service, ndio kwa sababu unaona wako hapa.
The chair of the Council of Governors, Wycliffe Oparanya, saying that the devolved units need their governors' physical presence, even with strict movement restrictions imposed on all Kenyans.
Kwa sababu mpaka tuje hapa, ndio watu wetu waweze kupata vitu. Kama sasa mimi singekuja hapa ningepataje hii vitu? Nani atapeleka huko Kakamega? Ndio kwa sababu tumekuja tuchukue hii vitu tupelekee watu wetu. Hiyo ni makosa? Hapana.
But with the classification of essential services clearly listed, the governors seem to have got it all wrong. The governor's freedom to move freely from one county to another raises questions as to who the law applies to and why would the law only apply to a section of Kenyans while the rest can get away with contravening it. Meanwhile, following the death of one person in Kibra during a food distribution exercise that went terribly wrong, the county chiefs now want that role solely assigned to them.
Draft rules proposes that county governments, county commissioners shall have the responsibility to inspect and distribute food and non-food supplies.
In addition, the number of health workers in the counties has been increased despite a shortage of personal protective equipment for them. With claims that the counties are not well prepared to deal with COVID-19 here in the country, the Council of Governors has continued to emphasize on the level of preparedness, saying that they have more monies and put in place more measures to deal with coronavirus. Diana Rachel Mbogwa, Ebru TV.
Well, 30 minutes past the hour. You're watching Ebru Primetime News. 40920 is our SMS line. Tell us what you think about this and our general programming. Time now for a very short break. We'll be back with more news that made headlines tonight. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. To pay rent or not remains to be one of the biggest debates on many Kenyans' lips as the country's continues to feel the pinch of the economic shutdown borne by the effects of the novel coronavirus. A bigger debate on the matter is in the offing as the civil society calls on Kenyans not to pay rent, but on what legal basis? Kenneth Kazungu with more.
As the country continues to grapple with the effects of the novel coronavirus, which has brought the economies of most, if not all, countries to their knees, a huge chunk of Kenyans are now facing the new norm of having to make tough survival choices and how to make ends meet amid the economic shutdown.
We are still in the middle of an international tsunami. The corona pandemic is engulfing continents.
Such is the cost of house rent, which remains the greatest headache for many households. And today, a group of lobby union leaders under the banner I Stand With Kenya have fired the latest salvo in the rent row.
And the Landlords and Tenants Association of Kenya, LATAC, directs all tenants not to pay rent until President Uhuru Kenyatta orders business to resume normal operations.
Tenants, tafadhali kule mliko, hiyo pesa yako kaa nayo, usipatiane kwa landlord. Kwa sababu saa hizi cases zimeingia 19 counties. After next week, maybe it will be the whole of Kenya. Now, who is going to give you food?
But are these pronouncements backed by the law?
The human rights group is a lobby group. They can only, lobby. They do not have any powers to force landlords, because you're talking about, right to property here. And if you then compel a property owner to waive rent, then what are you saying? In essence, you're depriving them of that right.
According to the group, landlords should stop being greedy and play their part in the war against the spread of the killer coronavirus.
Serikali inasema watu waoshe mkono tusiambukizane. Landlord naye anawaka against government. Anaenda kufunga maji, watu wakishindwa kunawa. Sasa hao landlords kama hao ndio wale ambao wanataka ugonjwa uenee.
So I think what the lobby group should be doing is to suspend the levy of distress. I mean, so that no one is attached for failure of paying rent.
And in efforts to push for tenants' rights, the group even launched an SMS line where affected tenants are supposed to send their complaints.
We can reach you, we can communicate to you, and we'll solve issues that is affecting you. We have a rapid response unit.
But when we tried it out, well, it remains unlaunched. This whole coronavirus pandemic has crippled the world's best economies have been brought to their knees, and Kenyans are really feeling that pinch. What steps could be taken so that Kenyans can at least get relief from this rent burden?
So I think it's called for understanding between landlords and tenants, because you do not expect then people to pay rent when they do not have that money. So I would expect a situation whereby the government would, in a very sober way, engage the landlords and come up with a consensus, try to explain that it is not out of, malice that this is happening, but it's just a situation that we found ourselves in, and we need to help each other because it's not business as usual for anyone.
Well, moving on, police have started investigating the death of the renowned author and journalist Ken Walibora, who is alleged to have died in an accident. Walibora's remains were found at the Kenyatta National Hospital after he went missing since last Friday. Several leaders led by President Uhuru Kenyatta have mourned the literary veteran as a celebrated Kiswahili scholar and author.
Popularly known for his Swahili literary works from the 90s such as Siku Njema, Kidagaa Kimemwozea, Ndoto ya America and Sauti ya Mama, Walibora was also at the forefront to fight for the use of the Swahili language in the country.
Unaona shule imeandikwa ilani inayosema this is an English speaking zone. Kauli kama hizo zinatisha kwa sababu hakuna nchi duniani ambayo inachagua lugha ya watu wengine na kusema ndiyo hiyo lugha na kuikana lugha yao wenyewe. Huwezi kwenda Uingereza kwa mfano ukakuta pahala pameandikwa this is a Swahili speaking zone.
And today the country was mourning the greatest speaker and author of all times. According to preliminary reports, the former Nation media employee had gone missing since Friday last week, only for his remains to be traced at the Kenyatta National Hospital mortuary. It's alleged that Ken Walibora was knocked down by a matatu along Landers Road while crossing alongside his body was also discovered to be khakis in the hand and a press card in his pocket. Nairobi Area Police Commander Philip Ndolo confirmed that they have begun investigations and are currently tracing the driver of the said matatu in question. More details to the surroundings about his death are yet to be confirmed by the relevant authorities and his family. Until his death, Walibora taught at the School of International Relations and Diplomacy at Riara University. This will be the third journalist at the Nation Media Group who has died from a hit-and-run incident. Millie Kisenya for Ebru TV.
May God comfort the family during this trying time. The cotton industry in the country has received a boost after the government purchased 16 metric tons of BT non-hybrid cotton seeds to be distributed to farmers in various counties. The seeds are set to produce over 2,000 kilograms of cotton per hectare against the current average yield of 572 kilograms per hectare.
Flagging off the new improved seeds, Ann Nyaga, Chief Administrative Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock, Fisheries and Cooperatives, said cotton production in the country will experience a rebound significantly, improving cotton farmers' earnings.
There are currently about 30,000 cotton farmers, while the industry can be able to support over 200,000 farmers.
The seeds are expected to be distributed to Busia, Bungoma, Siaya, Kisumu, Homa Bay, Baringo, Elgeyo Marakwet, Kilifi, Kwale, Tana River and Lamu counties. The cotton farmers in these regions are expected to reap big as cotton production is projected to grow from a current low of 29,000 bales per year to about 200,000 bales by the year 2020.
Under the presidential Big Four agenda, the government has several initiatives that include input support, access and development of improved seeds, price support, construction of seed cotton buying centers, strengthening and formation of farmer cotton cooperatives and organizations.
The CAS pointed out that this will revive the slowly dying textile industry, which was affected by constraints in the cotton production.
Key among them is the inadequate extension services, insufficient integration of the value chain, the high cost of production, lack of certified seeds, and lack of affordable credit. Other challenges include fluctuation of seed cotton prices, weak farmer organizations, low production and productivity, and obsolete equipment.
Kenya's textile exports enjoy quota and duty-free access to the USA market under the African Growth and Opportunity Act (AGO), in addition to other preferential treatment in EU and COMESA markets. 720 demonstration sites of BT cotton in the same counties where non-BT hybrid seed will be grown for teaching farmers and extension service providers from all over the country. BT cotton is an insect-resistant transgenic crop designed to combat the bollworm.
A technical program which has been put in place to ensure that all the time the products that the farmers get are resistant to the bollworm.
Well, according to the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries, the industry has the ability to employ 1.5 million people under the cotton, textile and clothing value chain. Winnie Lubembe for Ebru TV.
Moving on, the Kisii County Emergency Response Committee on Coronavirus has instituted additional measures to contain the spread of the disease. Area County Commissioner Stephen Kihara and Governor James Ongwae have cited keeping travel manifests by public service vehicles and deployment of personnel at entry points to the county to screen travelers as the new measures take place.
Launching the screening exercise at Getare on Kisii-Nyamira border, the County Commissioner Stephen Kihara explained the PSV owners, crew and chairmen of their respective circles that they will be expected to keep details of their commuters.
Call upon the passenger, the owners of the matatu, and particularly the chairmen of the circle, so that we can also come up with a forum whereby even the driver is in a position to know the passengers that he was able to carry. Then we get their numbers so that in case there is somebody who has shown signs of the disease, we'll be in a position now to go back to know how we can be able to get them.
Kihara remarked in the event of a passenger turning into a COVID-19 suspect, the authorities will be able to retrieve the details from the manifest. According to Kihara, the manifest will be reported to the committee and a template to be created.
We agree on the methodology or the template so that we adopt all of us. So for the benefit of those who are here, we also want to call upon Mwananchi so that he can also own up the process. We accept this is a journey as a country. We must work as a team and accept the agenda is to ensure all of us, we are safe.
Governor James Ongwae announced the establishment of 11 entry screening points into the county to be manned by medical and security personnel. The points include Miruka, Keroka, Nyangusu, Sare and Suneka along the borders of Nyamira, Sutik, Narok, Migori and Homa Bay counties.
In Kisii County, we have 11 entry points across the county, and all of them are going to be manned by our health officers, together our medical personnel, together with our security personnel. We are armed with infrared thermometer guns at each point. Any passengers that are coming in, we will have to check all of them.
Kisii County has since reported one positive case of coronavirus, but whose victim was under quarantine in Nairobi, where he resided.
The Law Society of Kenya has moved to court seeking to suspend the government's directive on mandatory face masks. Now, the society also wants the Ministry of Health to supply a free mask to the vulnerable people. This comes even as the Inspector General of Police, Hilary Mutyambai, has directed police officers to arrest individuals who were not wearing face masks in public.
It is compulsory. It is compulsory to put the face masks. This is through the Gazette notice dated 6th of this month of April, which was issued by the Office of Attorney General, directing that all people should put on the face masks. These attracts, failure to that, this attracts a stiff fine of 20,000 or imprisonment of 6 months or both.
It is a directive that could be suspended. This is after the Law Society of Kenya moved to court seeking to suspend the directive. The society, led by Nelson Harvey, further wants the Ministry of Health to supply masks to Kenyans living in informal settlements. However, the government seems not to relent on their quest of arresting those who go against the directive.
Wananchi to cooperate. We don't want to see excessive force in this. It is supposed to be a mutual understanding. This is an issue of disease. There is no crime we have committed, but it is good for your health to put the face mask.
Last week, police officers nabbed 3 buses ferrying 96 passengers from Mombasa to Embu, where they were intercepted at Masinga and ordered to return to the coastal city with everyone on board.
On top of that, those buses, operation license were cancelled and the driver's driving license were cancelled. This is a very punitive measures which I don't want to encourage as long as the members of public adheres to this directive.
Mutiambai, who concealed the company's name, said their licenses were also cancelled for going against the government enforcement on partial lockdowns in Mombasa, Kilifi, Kwale, and Nairobi. The buses and passengers were returned to Mombasa.
When we get you, we'll ensure that process of prosecution is adhered to serve as a good example.
The Mombasa-bound buses destined to central parts of Kenya that had avoided the already effective Nairobi lockdown, alternatively using different routes through the eastern parts of the country. Abdelaziz Hashim, Ebru TV.
Workers at the port of Mombasa have threatened to down their tools until the Kenya Port Authority puts in place effective preventive measures to combat the COVID-19 pandemic. Dock Workers Union Secretary General Simon Sang has demanded mass testing of all workers at the port, claiming that the biggest chunk of total confirmed cases in Mombasa County is from the port.
The sudden death of KPA employee James Oyugi on Sunday has sparked panic among port workers at the port of Mombasa, and at least 45 close contacts from Oyugi's office have already been placed under mandatory quarantine. According to a statement from KPA management, 7 workers so far have tested positive since the onset of the pandemic. 4 of the cases, according to the statement signed by acting KPA Managing Director Rashid Salim, are staff from KPA, while 3 are said to be contracted cleaners working at the port.
Again, on that issue of Nyanza, we as Dock Workers Union have taken a very serious stand on the undignified burial which we all saw.
The state of affairs is alleged to have been attributed to the lack of effective liable measures to curb the spread of the virus. Dock Workers Union claims the management may be downscaling the numbers to save face, noting the overwhelming situation at the Port Health Center.
The workers of Kenya Port Authority are more susceptible to this pandemic than any other workers or people within this county of Mombasa.
The union is now threatening to call its members to go on strike in 3 days' time if the port's management does not effect contingent measures to stop the spread of the virus.
First priority as an institutional facility is to keep the worker safe. Of course, the workers are now sacrificing, just like the medical personnel who are sacrificing as an essential service. This country depends on the port now. 90% of the cargo that comes to our industries, cargo that are consumed in the country, comes from the port.
Some of the measures KPA has put in place is the fumigation of its offices, designating Bandari Clinic as an isolation center, and temporarily suspending ship crew change, as well as the discharge of garbage from incoming vessels.
Mass testing is something we have recommended. We have already written to the regional commissioner that Kenya Port Authority be given priority in the mass testing.
Busara Naman for Ebru TV.
Let's jump straight to the world of sports. Kenya's 2017 London Marathon champion Daniel Kinyo Wanjiru has been provisionally suspended by the Athletics and Integrity Unit AIU for an athlete biological passport violation under the World Athletics anti-doping rules.
Daniel Wanjiru won the London Marathon here in March.
According to Athletics Integrity Unit, Wanjiru, a two-time Prague half marathon winner in 2015 and 2016, is accused of breaching Article 2.2 of the World Anti-Doping Rules as far as the athlete blood passport is concerned, after irregularities were detected in his samples.
The leader of these two men, he's in fourth place, and he will be setting his...
The 28-year-old rose to the limelight at the 2017 London Marathon when he destroyed a strong field to win the race in 2 hours 05 minutes and 48 seconds, beating Ethiopian great Kenenisa Bekele, who finished second. The athlete has returned to the English capital in 2 occasions, but has failed to recapture his title owing to multiple injuries as well as his dip in form. In 2018, Wanjiru finished a distant 8th before dropping further to 11th place at the 2019 race, which was won by compatriot Eliud Kipchoge.
It's Messel now, one of the very...
Wanjiru now joins the list of Kenya's high-profile athletes who have been suspended since the start of the 2020.
There. Good to see so many people on the course. I think that's...
Others are former world marathon record holder Wilson Kipsang and former world junior 800 meters champion Alfred Kipketer, both whom were charged for whereabout failure. Davis Mberia, Ebru Sports.
The postponement of the World Under-20 Championship and Continental Tour first leg meet that were all set for Nairobi in July and May respectively might have opened a huge Pandora's box, with all stakeholders now holding a huge crisis as the COVID-19 pandemic continues to create havoc in all sporting activities globally.
As the World Athletics continues to stretch its muscles on when to refix all of its postponed international events, many athletes could find themselves locked out of superior competitions that were set for this year. The fate of those athletes who had sealed slots for the Under-20 Championship seriously hangs in balance.
Assuming that the event is postponed until next year, it means that majority of those athletes who could have competed this year for the World Under-20 will not qualify. They have not come out clearly on how they are going to handle that. They are still considering it, but then the answer will come when they have already confirmed the date.
The event, which was set for July 7th to 12th in Nairobi, has been called off. The championship is now likely set for next year.
If the World Under-20 will be held, it will be in Nairobi, but then it is not going to be this year, maybe next year, but definitely it will not go beyond 2022.
With the World Athletics set to announce exact dates for the teenage graduate event at the end of this month, some of the factors on table for consideration include postponement of major diamond leagues and continental tour meets.
They are considering all other factors, the major events like the World Championship. They are considering also the Diamond League, which is the mainstay of World Athletics. They are considering Continental Tour and any other event that we have lost this year.
The first meet of the Continental Tour legs that was set for Nairobi on May 2nd remains hopeful for hosting later September this year. Athletics Kenya says that preparations for all other major competitions that have been adversely affected by COVID-19 pandemic will also continue.
We have petitioned that we should have it in September, and we already gave suggestions on the dates, which is 19th of September and the 26th. We are going to host it, and we continue organizing the event as agreed by the CS, that we continue planning both for the Continental Tour, both for World Under-20 and the Olympics.
Benjamin Waka, Ebru TV, Sports.
Well, La Liga side Real Sociedad have abandoned plans to allow players to train individually at the club's training ground and confirmed that they will continue physical conditioning from their homes while the country fights the spread of the coronavirus. The Basque team had announced on Saturday that players will be able to train individually. Others will be at a training ground from Tuesday after receiving a COVID-19 test, but the club have reversed the decision after facing a backlash on social media. Spain has been under lockdown for 4 weeks as part of a national state of emergency to fight the spread of the novel coronavirus, although some restrictions are being lifted from Monday and some businesses are set to reopen. Well, thank you so much for keeping us company until this tail end of the bulletin. My name is Eric Munene, our sign language interpreter. At the bottom end of your screen is Joyce Waremo. On behalf of everyone who made this a success, thank you so much for watching. Remember, you can always text us on 40920. Tell us what you think about our bulletin as well as general programming. We do appreciate your feedback. Keep safe.